I'm your host, Andrea Bazemore, and welcome to another episode of The Black Apple, where we talk about education and social justice in the classroom. Leaving judgments behind in education is important. We cannot do our job alone, and in order to create a comfortable and effective environment, educators have to work together. So today we're discussing how to leave judgments in education and how to move forward. The problem is that judgments in educators mirror those judgments that mothers might have. You see mom groups all the time depicted in TV, movies, and even in real life. Mothers are competitive and want the best for their child and want to be known that they are the best mother. You see mothers spending an enormous amount of money trying to please their children. You see mothers comparing their accomplishments with other mothers in an attempt to get ahead. And educating children is a very motherly and nurturing thing, and we want to believe that we are educating children to the best of our abilities. There becomes a problem when judgment intertwines in educating children, and we make it to believe that we are the best and that no one can compare to our educating because we surpass all expectations and abilities. And that is just entirely false. No one way of educating is the best. And yes, there are leaders in our industry, but they are leaders because they believe in the collective ability of educators. We have to stop this comparison between educators in our building, in our state, and in our country, and just focus on being a present educator in our world today. Now, there are two types of judgmental educators. Those are educators who are destructing their environment, and there are those educators who are displaying their environment. Destructive educators have a class and a culture that is an absolute mess. There is little to no learning going on, and the room entices chaos. Nothing can get through with this educator because of their destructive ability. And teachers talk about this kind of destructive educator, and they pass judgment. They say, this educator cannot teach. And we let that educator just fail. We will gossip, we will not help the kids in that classroom, and we will let that educator fail because they are just labeled as a destructive educator. And the reason why we let this destructive educator destruct their classroom and destruct students is because we do not care. We want an outlet to judge because it makes us feel better about ourselves, which is wrong. There are children in all of that process. Instead of making it an adult-centered building or an adult-centered mission, we need to make sure that it is a student-driven mission as a school. No matter how hard it might be, we might have to be that educator to step up, be that colleague that makes sure that destruction does not happen in your building. Because if it's happening in one classroom, it's happening in 5 others. It is our job as a building to uplift and uphold high standards because there are kids at stake. So instead of letting that destructive educator fail, at the beginning of the year, when you see that things are starting to crumble, you need to reach out a hand and help them out. Now, whether they take that help or not is up to them. However, whether they refuse or not, you cannot let their refusal negate your helping the students in that room. No matter how many hurt feelings they might have, you need to do what's best for kids. Not saying that you are better than that educator, but regardless of their refusal of help, go out of your way to help the kids that are surrounding that educator, that educator is in charge of. We cannot let 1 year go by of kids having a failing education just because you want to stay in your comfort level. We have to reach out and help. Now, there's another kind of educator, and this educator likes to display themselves. This educator is well known in your building. Their job is to promote envy and disdain in your building. Now, They may be an amazing educator, and they can get any and everything that they want. They might have high growth. Their room may be fantastic. However, they have built high animosity because they are not sharing their greatness. They are containing their greatness to themselves, which is selfish. And their containment leads to judgment that's spread throughout the building. Educators may not want to take advice from this display kind of educator because they are seen as inept in this educator's eyes, in the display educator's eyes. To the display kind of educator who provides judgment, what they need to do is not focus so much on themselves, but making sure that their building is great. We don't set to educate one group of children. We set to educate our entire building. We set to make sure that our school provides the best education. And that goes beyond one classroom. For this kind of educator who has their stuff together, you have to help others. And when you are helping others, you need to listen. Understand where one educator is coming from. Those educators that are reluctant to change are reluctant to fail. Those educators that are in this display category have to realize that they are not the best. They may be the best in one building, and they may be okay with being the best in one building, but there's always going to be someone better than you. So get out of that comfortability of being the best and get comfortable with building greatness. True excellence doesn't just happen in one building. True excellence doesn't happen in just one room. True excellence spreads. So if you're a great educator, pat yourself on the back, but then go get someone else's back. We have to create great schools and communities, not great classrooms. A school is beyond compartmentalized four walls. A school has to be the glue in the community. So, in order to be that glue, in order for your message to stick, it can't just be in one place. And we can't let educators who are destructive continue destructing, because eventually it will lead to a collapse. For more tips, head over to theBlackApple.org. Continue listening to my other episodes. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Thanks. And remember, education is power, but knowledge is sweet.